Hello everyone, welcome to this session on chapters map reading and rehabilitation. So in our previous session we saw the drainage. So in this session we'll discuss the drainage patterns. So we'll start with the introduction to this. What is the drainage pattern? The drainage pattern, this is just a plan or a layout of the river with its various tributaries. Also, you can also define as a layout made by the rivers of the landscape. Also, just the shape produced by the arrangement of the tributaries and the main river in the catchment area. So that's what a drainage pattern is. Now, the pattern can be due to the following: the slope of the land, whether the slope is gentle or steep slope, can determine the kind of a drainage pattern. The nature of the underlying rock, the kind of rock that underlies the river system, can also determine the kind of drainage pattern, and the general leaf pattern of an area can determine also the drainage pattern. Now, let's see the various types of the drainage patterns. The types of the drainage pattern are determined by the rock structure, its hardness, and the slope, as well as the erosive power of the river system. Now, here are the types. The first one is the dendritic pattern. It looks like the trunk of the tree and its branch or like a leaf. Like a leaf with its veins. So that's the dendritic pattern. This is the first type. It just looks like a trunk of the tree and it's branch or like a leaf with its veins. So that's how it looks like, especially within the topographical maps. Now it has many tributaries from different directions that are joining the main river at an acute angle. So you can take a dendritic pattern as there are many tributaries that are joining the main river with this kind of an acute angle. Now it resembles the shape of a tree like a feature. So that's how you can tell it's a dendritic drainage pattern, especially in the topographical maps, by resembling a tree-like feature. Now, it develops on landscapes of uniform rock hardness and structure and on gentle slope landscapes. So this is where you can find this kind of a drainage pattern on landscapes of this uniform rock hardness and the structure and the gentle slope landscapes. Now it is very common in area of also these igneous rocks. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like, especially in the topographical maps. You can tell this is the dendritic pattern. As you can see, there are these various many tributaries that are joining the main river at the acute angles. So that's the dendritic drainage pattern. Moving on, the other type of drainage pattern, the trellisized pattern. Is the pattern which develops in areas with the alternate hard and soft rocks. So it is different from the dendritic, as this one it develops where there are alternate hard and soft rocks. The tributaries they join the main river at almost right angles. So the tributaries are different from the dendritic where they join at acute. Here they almost join at the right angles. And here is how they look like. So these are the tributaries joining the main river course. So these are the trellis-sized patterns, and you can tell them like this within the topographical maps. Moving on, there are these rectangular patterns. Is rectangular pattern. This is the pattern which is similar to the trellis size, but it has these tributaries joining the main river at exact right angles. So this is how they look like. The rectangular patterns they develop this kind of a system whereby the tributaries they join exactly at right angles to the this main river system. So that's clear also. Moving on, the other type is the radial pattern. This is the drainage pattern or arrangement of streams flowing outward down the slopes of the dome or cone-shaped upland like a large volcano. It is common to area with the circular hill of the igneous rocks. So these kinds of patterns they develop just around the slopes of the dome or cone-shaped uplands like a large volcano, and they drain they drain the water just outward from these kinds of features. For example, actually, example large volcanoes, and this is how they look like, especially in these topographical maps. As you can see, this is the central uplift, and these are the radial patterns. The rivers are just draining outward from this feature. For example, this the central uplift can be kind of a dome or cone-shaped upland. So that's how you can tell the radial patterns, especially in the topographical maps. Now, the other type is the centripetal pattern. This is the pattern of drainage in which all streams, all these various streams flowing from all directions converge at the center in the basin like swamp or lake. So they are just opposite of the ones we've seen before. It is largely controlled by the shape of the landscape. And this is how they look like. As we said, largely, they just these river systems, they just drain outward from the central uplift, while in terms of the centripetal, these are just the ones that they drain the water inside to the central depression. So these are the centripetal patterns, and you can tell they look like this, especially in these topographical maps. Now let's move on to the other part, discussing about the river cause or stage identifications. Now it has also been noted that a river has its cause if development marked with three stages of the life cycle. So here are the stages of the river cause. The first one, uh, the first one is this, the youthful state. It can be easily identified by the presence of the following features. The first one, that the narrow V-shape, the contours like the arrowheads pointing up to the highest ground. So that's the first feature of the youthful state. Then we have very loose the contours along the river course, and also lack of the meanders. So you cannot find these various meanders within this stage, the youthful stage. Also, the absence of the floodplain, you cannot see them in the youthful stage, and the very few tributaries are developed with this youthful stage. So this is the first stage of the river system. Moving on, the second one is the mature stage. It is recognized by the following parts on the map, controls the U pattern. So after various processes from V shape, they turn to a U shape pattern, causing the river to wide interval, which may represent a gentle gradient. Also, landscapes is fairly flat with the narrow floodplains and the we see presence of the many tributaries as in this stage the river develops. Also, there is low degree of meanders that can be found in this stage. And last but not least, the last stage, the old stage, whereby it is observed by the following facts, they've shown that the presence of very gentle gradient of the river course, then the contours are just very far apart from the across the river, and you will have more pronounced meanders that you can see them compared to the other stages, and also the presence of the river below the flood plain. So that's the other feature whereby the flood plain develops highly at this stage. So that's all I have for this session of the Square. Thank you for listening. We'll discuss these various draining patterns. We've seen half of these various types. We'll discuss them in briefly, and then we've seen the various stages of the river course. So of that's clear, and thank you.